What's up everyone? Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you're new, welcome to my channel. My name is Preeti Rao and I am both a real estate and a mortgage broker for close to 20 years. Now last week I did a video on the foreign investors ban, and in that video I briefly touched on the important aspects of this 2-year ban. But I got a lot of calls from my existing clients as well as people who saw this video, and they had a lot of questions, especially with the confusion in the foreign buyers tax and the foreign buyers ban. So today I will cover the foreign buyers tax that should not be mistaken with this 2-year ban. They are both two separate things. But first, you know the drill. Make sure to like, share, tap the bell icon, hit the subscription button. It gets me motivated to keep you up to date with everything real estate. Now, before I go into the boring stuff, let me just tell you a story. In 2015, around springtime, houses were selling like hotcake. We would put the house on the market and within 2 days it was sold over asking. Now, this was happening in Ontario, but what none of us in Ontario knew at that time was that the province of BC had already faced this problem, and homes that were small little cubby holes were touching the 1 million mark. Now see, during the 2008 debacle in the US, Canada also faced a little bit of that heat in the financial sector. Now the US government stepped in and rescued all the banks, which was fine, but the ripple effect of that trickled down to Canada. Since then, people from Hong Kong and China shifted their path towards Vancouver. They started buying properties there, also focusing on pre-construction. When the pre-construction properties were built, schools and community centers were also built. But guess what? They were not living in those houses. Most of those properties were left vacant, and schools empty. That was when the government of BC realized what was truly happening. By then, we had already almost reached 2015. Parallelly, in the other side of the world, the protests and massive riots by the people in Hong Kong had begun after the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress issued a decision regarding proposed reforms to the Hong Kong electoral system. This put a halt to the frantic purchase that was happening in countries like US, Canada, Australia, etc. Suddenly, in 2015, we, the unsuspecting public of Ontario, saw an overnight lull in the market because the people of Hong Kong and China were busy fighting among themselves, and buying properties all over the world was no longer their priority. That is when the federal government and the provincial government finally put 2 and 2 together and actually came up with the number 4 and passed the bill to tax all foreign buyers, or as we call them, speculators, with this foreign buyers tax. The government of Ontario started imposing the NRST in response to concerns about the housing market and rapidly rising prices. Now, the purpose was to deter speculation in the Ontario housing market, particularly by foreign buyers. In words of the Ministry of Finance upon introducing the province's budget on April 27th of 2017, he said, "The government is concerned that non-residential investors who are not planning on living in the province may have been purchasing Ontario homes primarily for these speculation purposes." Interestingly, the province has not cited any data or statistics to support the introduction of the NRST, just like how they did not provide any data or statistics to support the introduction of this 2-year ban. Now that you have the rough history behind this particular tax, let's go to the boring stuff on what does this entail within Ontario. This non-residential speculation tax, the NRST, is payable where a foreign national, foreign corporation, or a taxable trustee purchases or acquires designated land in Ontario. Now, when it all started, the tax percentage was 15% in all provinces across Canada. Then it jumped to 20%. But Ontario has gone and increased its non-residential speculation tax to 25% of the purchase price for the transferred property as of November 25th, 2022. Note that the NRST is in addition to the Ontario's land transfer tax that generally applies to the purchase of residential properties. The province has also provided a transitional rule for taxpayers that undertake a certain property transfer for which they enter into an agreement of purchase and sale on or before October 24th of 2022. Now, this tax is applicable to other provinces too, but the tax percentage varies province to province. So always talk to your accountant and your lawyer for proper clarification of this particular tax program before getting into it. Well, for the coming 2 years, you can't do anything, but Just keep this in mind. Where we stand today, a foreign buyer cannot buy a home in Canada for at least 2 years. But like I said in my previous video, with all the exceptions, people will find loopholes that are actually very obvious. See, the thing is, yes, foreign buyers were a problem. And notice I use the word were, because the reality of today's real estate is that the percentage of foreign buyers are not as much as you think they are. And I'll say this again. Often, it's much simpler for politicians to take advantage of themes that resonate more with people than actually impact them. So, I hope I did a good job in explaining the NSRT to you. If you have questions or want clarifications, please do not hesitate to call me. If you don't know who I am by now, then just go and check my rating on Google and read my client reviews. Till then, take care. And if you found value and liked this video and would like to see more content, then click on the boxes on the screen. Once again, my name is Preeti Rao. My contact information is in the description box below. Make sure to hit like, share, subscribe and the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to call me because I hold the key that opens the door to your dream home.